Hello children, welcome back. In the previous class we have studied about houses, drains and streets in the cities of Harappa. In today's class we will study about how was the life in the city of Harappa. A Harappan city was a very busy place. There were people who planned the construction of special buildings in the city. These were probably the rulers or kings. It is likely that the rulers sent people to distant lands to get metal, precious stones, and other things that they wanted. They may have kept these most valuable objects, such as ornaments of gold and silver or beautiful beads, for themselves. And there were scribes. Scribes are the people who know how to write, and they helped to prepare the seals and wrote on other materials that have not survived now. And there were men and women who were craft persons. They were all kinds of things were made by them, either in their own homes or in special workshops. People were traveling to distant lands and returned with raw materials and also with many stories to convey to others. Many terracotta toys have been found, and children must have played with these in these areas. Here in this picture you can see a terracotta toy. Here in this figure you can see a Harappan seal. The signs on the top of the seal are part of the script. This is the earliest form of writing known in the subcontinent. Scholars have tried to read these signs, but we still do not know exactly what they mean. Let's now discuss about some stone ways. Stone ways, these are shaped, and these were made up of chert and a kind of stone, and these were probably used to weigh precious stones or metals. Beads. Many of these beads were made up of carnelian and beautiful red stone. The stone was cut, shaped and polished, and finally a hole was bored through the center so that a stream could be passed through it to make ornaments, necklaces, bracelets and anklets. There were also stone blades which were used for tools. Embroidered cloth was used by the people, and the stone statue here in this picture shows that was used by an important man, which was found from Mohenjo-daro, shows him wearing an embroidered garment. Faience. Faience is a material that is artificially produced. Unlike stone or shell that are found naturally, this materials is artificially produced. A gum was used to shape sand or powdered quartz into an object. These objects were then glazed or polished, resulting in a shiny, glassy surface. The colors of this glaze were usually blue or sea green. The faience was used to make beads, bangles, earrings, for jewelry and for tiny vessels. And do you know how were the goods carried from one place to another place in Harappan times? If you see this figure here, it shows a toy plough. And can you suggest what were the modes of transport used by the Harappans? Perhaps they carried things in bullock carts or in ships. In this picture is a toy plough. Today in many farming communities only men use the plough. We do not know whether the Harappans followed such customs or not. Let's now discuss about new crafts which were used in the city. Some of these objects were made and found in Harappan cities, and most of the things that have been used by archaeologists are made up of stone, shell and metal. including copper, bronze, gold, and silver. The copper and bronze were used to make tools, weapons, ornaments, and vessels. Gold and silver were used to make ornaments and vessels. The most striking or attractive findings are here, though, are those of beads and weights to measure and even the blades as tools. The Harappans also made seals out of stone, and these are generally rectangular in shape and usually have an animal carved on them. The Harappans also made pots with beautiful black designs. And cotton was probably grown in Mehrgarh from about 7,000 years ago. Actual pieces of cloth was found attached to the lid or the cover of a silver vase and some copper objects at Mohenjo-daro. Archaeologists have also found spindle rolls made up of terracotta and faience, and these were used to spin the thread or to roll the thread. The Harappans probably got copper from present-day Rajasthan and even from Oman in West Asia. Tin was mixed with copper to produce stone, bronze, and even they may have brought from present-day Afghanistan and Iran. Gold could have come all the way from the present-day Karnataka, and precious stones have brought from present-day Gujarat, Iran, and Afghanistan. And now we'll discuss about the food for people in the cities. Many people lived in the cities and others lived in the countryside or outside the countries. They grew crops and reared animals. These farmers and herders supplied food to craftspersons, scribes, and rulers in the cities. From the remains of the plants, we know that the Harappans grew wheat, barley, pulses, peas, rice, sesame, linseed, and mustard. A new tool that was plough was used to dig the earth for turning up the soil and planting the seeds, while real ploughs, which were probably made of wood, have not survived. Toy models have been found. As this region does not receive heavy rainfall, some form of irrigation may have been used. This means the water was stored and supplied to the fields when the plants were growing. The Harappans reared cattle, sheep, goat, and buffalo. Water and the pastures were available around the settlement. Pastures are the green areas which help the animals to rear or graze. In the dry summers, large herds of animals were probably taken to greater distances in search of grass and water. They also collected fruits like bear, they caught fish and hunted wild animals like the antelope. And now we will look at the towns in Gujarat. The city of Dholamira was located in Khadir Bed in Rann of Kutch, where there was a fresh water and there was a fresh soil for the agriculture or fertile soil. Unlike some of the Harappan cities which were divided into two parts, Dholamira was divided into three parts, and each part was surrounded with massive large stone walls with entrance through the gateways. There was also a large open area in the settlement where public ceremonies could have been held. Other findings include large letters of the Harappan script that were carved out of white stone and perhaps inlaid in wood. This is a unique find, as generally Harappan writings has been found on small objects as seals. The city of Lothal stood beside the tributary of the Sabarmati in Gujarat, which was close to the Gulf of Combat. It was situated near areas where raw materials such as semi-precious stones were easily available. This was an important center of making objects out of stone, shell, and metal. There was also a storehouse in the city to store the things. The seals and sealings were found in these storehouses. The mystery of the cities at the end. Around 3,900 years ago, we find the beginning of major change in these cities. People stopped living in many areas in the cities, and the writing seals ways were no longer used. Raw materials brought from long distances became rare to find here. In Mohenjo-daro, we find that garbage was piled up on the streets. The drainage system broke down, and new, then less impressive houses were built, and even over the streets. Why did all this happen? We are not sure yet. Some scholars suggest that the rivers dried up. Others suggest that there was deforestation. This could have happened because fuel was required for baking bricks and for smelting copper ores. Besides these reasons, grazing by large herds of cattle, sheep, and goat may have destroyed the green cover or the green fields. In some areas, there were floods, but none of these reasons could explain the end of all these cities. Floodings or a river drying up would have had an effect on only some areas. It appears as if the rulers lost control over the cities. These effects of the change are quite clear. Sites in Sindh and West Punjab, uh, present day Pakistan, were abandoned or left uh, in the cities, where many people moved into newer to settle in other smaller settlements to the east of and to the south. Now we will learn such cities elsewhere in the other countries. In Egypt, most of the Egypt is a dry desert place except for the lands around the river Nile. Around 5000 years ago, kings ruled over Egypt, and these kings sent armies to distant lands to get gold, silver, ivory, timber, and precious stones. They also built huge, large tombs known as pyramids. When they died, the bodies of kings were preserved and buried in these pyramids. And these pyramids, where carefully preserved bodies are known as mummies. A large number of objects were also buried with them. These included food and drink, clothes, ornaments, utensils, music instruments, weapons, and also animals. Sometimes even serving men and women were buried with the rulers who served the kings. These are amongst the most elaborate burials known in the world history.